What's the first question that the business should ask before they start making videos?
We do a workshop where there's about 16 questions that we run through. That first meeting is where projects live or die.
Since 2011, Jack Leigh has been shaping stories through the lens of film and television. As creative director of 8 Engines, Jack finds that sweet spot between what companies want to say with what audiences actually want to watch. From those early days of being paid in exposure to working on massive productions like Fast and the Furious, Peaky Blinders, and Skins, Jack's built a career helping brands tell stories that feel authentic, emotional, and audience first. What is audience first video?
We see it as a Venn diagram. You've got what your audience wants to watch, you've got what you want to say over here. There is this little sliver of stuff. So the idea is making a piece of content that increases that sliver so you're getting your messaging in a packaging that an audience actually wants to engage with.
How do you think short form video is affecting the way that brands are using video at the moment?
Short form video is harder. What they've done is they've gone, oh, it's short form video. We're still going to try and convey the same message. We've just got 15 seconds to do it.
How do you see AI kind of changing the landscape within video production?
Like, it is going to be a huge part of things moving forward. I sort of see 2 or 3 different outcomes.
Businesses that are producing video or thinking about producing video, what's one thing that they could do right now that would instantly improve what it is that they're doing?
I would say one of the key things we noticed with projects that were failing came from this ethos of...
Now, Jack, I think there's going to be a little bit of bias here because you are the creative director of a world-class video production agency. But do you think that all businesses can benefit from using video?
It's a really good question, to be honest with you. I guess that we've worked with a huge range of companies. So we've worked with companies that have come out of the gate, they've just set up, their entire strategy is built around video.
Yeah.
We're currently working with a company that's 200 years old. They've never done video before. They've got 100,000 staff around the world. And they're just started doing video. Clearly, they didn't need it. Like, they built up to 100,000. So I think they've worked out now that they benefit from it. I think we're in a realm where I would struggle to find an example of a business unless you're doing something really shady, like sort of blood diamond miners, things like that. Probably wouldn't work from video. But I think you'd struggle to find an example of someone that couldn't benefit from it if it had the right strategy. I think that's the
key thing. The strategy is the important part, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. I think most businesses are, that they're bought in, they understand they need to be doing video. But what's the first question that they should really ask before they start making videos?
Well, I guess it depends where we come into the process. So I would say the very first question you should ask before you start any campaign or any piece of strategy is, what does success look like? If you can refine what success looks like, you can work backwards from there to work out how to get there. But let's say we've done that and you're into, you've already established a video campaign's the way to go. And we're talking specifically about the video. There's a few key questions we ask. We do a workshop where there's about 16 questions that we run through, which I won't bore you with. But
that sounds cool.
Some of the key ones. The best one I like to ask is, you don't know what the project is, you don't know what this video is, but let's say 6 months from now, you can interview someone who's seen this video. Whatever it is, it's sort of blurred out. We don't know what it is, but they've seen it. What would you want them to say they learnt, and how would you want them to say they felt? If you can answer those questions, once again, you can work backwards to a way to get it there.
So you've actually got a bit more of a formalized process with this 16-step questionnaire. Then it's not just a case of, we've got some typical kind of questions that we ask. This is actually a structured format.
Oh God, you should see my Miro boards. There's a full process.
Oh, brilliant. I think
that's where that first meeting is where projects sort of live or die.
Absolutely. And that itself is the voice of experience right there as well, isn't it? So because if you don't have that, it's so much trickier to actually deliver.
Yeah, completely. Otherwise, you're just trying to make something cool, which you can kind of accidentally have success with that, but you're never having sort of strategic success. You're just sort of making something that, as a filmmaker, you think's cool because you don't have a strategy. You don't know where you're going. You're just driving fast in a direction.
We've spoken a few times, before this podcast, and a term that you keep using, which I love and I'm stealing, is audience first video. What is audience first video?
So I guess it comes once again from doing this for a long time, and we've seen sort of every project that's failed. And I would say one of the key things we noticed with projects that were failing came from this ethos of making a video that you wanted to make and just assuming because you've made the video, people will engage with it. We call it build it and they'll come, like that kind of philosophy behind it. Whereas you can make something that you're really happy with, and in the room, everyone's patting ourselves on the back and going, oh, we've made the video. We've got all the key messaging in there. But at the end, no one watches it because you've not thought about the audience. You've not thought about what people are willing to engage with. Like traditionally, there's this idea that Video production is a one-way medium. Like I make a video, you watch the video, you can't communicate back with me.
Yeah.
It's very much like me putting something on you. But actually it is a two-way medium because you do have a way of communicating with me and turning it off.
Exactly.
And if you don't think about the audience, if you just think about your messaging, that's what they're going to do. They're going to turn it off. And it's almost worse to make a video that's got entirely your messaging in that no one sees than making something that's for an audience and has even a little bit of your messaging in that they'll actually watch because you're still getting something out of that. So the key thing is we see it as a Venn diagram. You've got what your audience wants to watch over here and you've got what you want to say over here. And somewhere in here, there is this little sliver of stuff. So the idea is making a piece of content that increases that sliver. So you're getting your messaging in a packaging that an audience actually want to engage with. That's the best way to get someone to engage with it.
Perfect. I love the Venn diagram analogy as well. I think that's absolutely perfect. Because I think, again, just that overlap of what the business wants and what the audience wants, I think is so important. So with that Venn diagram in mind, how do you balance what an audience actually wants and what a business is actually trying to sell?
It's a really good question, and it's completely different for every business, every organization, every audience. It really comes down to really knowing that audience at the start, which once again comes back to that sort of workshop that we do right at the start of every project. We're really going to identify who this audience are, who you want to speak to, and then we're going to think about what they're watching. So it might be that diagram isn't too far apart. If you're selling a Hoover and your audience is very broadly people who want to buy Hoovers and your video is a video about why your Hoover is a good Hoover, those people want to watch that video because they want to buy the Hoover. Like it doesn't have to be like, oh my God, our audience are into sort of K-pop TikToks and we're trying to sell corporate insurance. How do we merge it? Like there's normally something in there. It's just about being aware of it. So you can do things like we had a project where we were working with a plumbing manufacturing company. It's a very, very, very sexy industry. Mm-hmm. And there were some changes in the sort of laws, in the kind of regulations around the plumbing industry. And this affected what they were manufacturing and the prices that they were charging for it. So it was a big thing for them. Now, their target audience was plumbers. The plumbers were not engaging with this topic. They weren't interested. They were just complaining that the stuff was high. They had no understanding of it. So this company came to us and they said, basically, we want to make a 15-minute video of us explaining these regulations. And we sat down and we often do this thing at the start of projects where we write down what you want to say. We get everything that you want to say and, we write on a whiteboard and then we move it over and we go, right, what do your audience want to listen to? We put these two things next to each other. And if nothing on this page is on this page, you've got a problem. Yeah. Because they're not going to listen to it. It doesn't matter if you make it, they're just not going to engage with it. So we really sat down and we looked at what plumbers were engaging with and we found the really interesting universe of plumbing influencers.
There's such a thing as plumbing influencers. Wow. Okay.
Actually, do you know what? I fell in love with some of these plumbing influencers. They were lovely people. Yeah. So we really, really thought about it and we ended up, the end product was we made a version of Taskmaster, legally compliant version.
Taskmaster, but not quite Taskmaster.
Yeah, Master Task.
An Audi version.
So we made a game show with these plumbers where all the challenges within this game show, we got the plumbing influencers on as sort of competitors. We had a really fun day. And all the challenges were based around key changes in this legislation. But it wasn't boring. It was like, you'll have to watch it. There's a case study on our website. It's called A Question of Regs. The challenges would be based around these key changes. So it might be like one of the things was that there's a change in the heating, sort of the amount of degrees you can have for underfloor heating. It really worked on me. I really know all this stuff now. So we had this daft challenge around this specific temperature. It wasn't really about underfloor heating. It was about these plumbing influencers having a laugh and messing around. And it was a comedy thing, but it really embedded this change in there. So that was, that's one of the ways that we've kind of found of.
See, I absolutely love this because I think quite often when people talk about creativity for a business video, they always think about brands like Nike, for example. Nike's a super sexy brand by default. I could think of 1,000 ideas that Nike could do today, probably easily. But then you take something that's like, about regulations or regulatory or law or something, and it's such a dry subject. Being creative in that area is so much harder. But that was like a really, really good example of what you've done there. I think it's really, really impressive. Is that down to your background in film and television that helps with that creativity, do you think?
I think it does, yeah. And I think there's a pro and con to the background in film and television. And I think now I've managed to find a nice sort of place where it lives alongside the sort of strategic side of it, as opposed to just sort of pretending to still be making films and TV and just getting budgets from other companies, which I think a lot of people do. Like now, you can learn a lot from entertainment.
Yeah.
But corporate and commercial and entertainment products are different. Like if you're making a documentary or a film, your job is solely to entertain an audience. It's to get them to sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours and pay their money and watch that thing. Whereas commercials and corporate videos they're tools of influence. And the process is really similar. And like, I love the process of making films. It doesn't really affect me which side we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like I love the process, but the end result is different. So there's lots of things you can learn from the entertainment space and like tactics and techniques that people are using to keep things engaging and keep things sort of moving and keep people entertained through there. But you do have to adapt them to make sure that they're still fulfilling that goal of a tool of influence. Like there's no point in us making a game show with plumbers if all we're doing is making an entertaining piece of content.
Yeah.
We've still got to think of that Venn diagram and put the key messaging within the entertainment to make it a tool of influence.
Exactly. And in such a dry subject area, that's a very, very clever way of doing it, by the way. Do you think there are telltale signs that a business is creating videos for themselves rather than creating videos for their audience?
Yeah, so I'd say in our experience, there's two ways that people can kind of be very self-indulgent with filmmaking within businesses. And the first way is what you typically see from senior management, CEO.
Yeah.
I want to sit down and I have things to say and I'm going to sit in front of a camera and I'm going to say my things and you're going to listen. Like it's very sort of domineering.
Yeah.
And we get to that point of people are going to turn it off. People are not engaged. People are just going to switch it off. So they're not thinking about the audience. They're thinking about their messaging and they're just trying to do the build it and they'll come thing.
Yeah.
I've said all I'm going to say, video complete. The other way that we see it is, and this I think is the purest and sort of the sweetest thing in the world, because I can completely understand it, is marketing departments who making a film is a really exciting and cool and creative thing. And a lot of people don't get to do it all the time. So this thing comes in where they go, oh, we've got a budget and we're going to make a commercial or a corporate video. And maybe they come and speak to someone like us who talks a lot about creativity and talks a lot about doing things out of the box. And they get into that sort of, it's entertainment, not a tool of influence thing. They get into, I'm going to win my Oscar with this. And, it becomes really creative and there's loads of ideas that come in, but suddenly we sort of lose track of the strategy. We're just making a piece of art. We're making something creative. We're making something over the top. And it becomes about the ego in a very harmless and very sweet way, but it becomes more about ego than it does about strategy. And I'd say that's the second way that people can lose sight of kind of what they're trying to do.
I know we don't really talk so much in terms of views. We're talking about the impact that their videos had, particularly on a specific outcome. But do you think it's reflected in the views as well? I mean, because that's normally the first metric people look at. It
is the first metric people look at. And for me, it's probably the most irrelevant metric out there. If I'm totally honest. Because if you make a video, views are normally not a representation of how your video is. Views are a representation of either how much money you've spent on pushing it out there. If you make a really bad video and you spend £1 million pushing it out there, it's going to get a lot of views. Or it's a representation of how your audience already is, like how big of an audience you already have. So if you make a really bad video and you spend £1 million on it and you've got a really big audience, it'll get a lot of views. If you have a really good video, and this is a genuine true story that happened at the start of our career, spent a long time making a really good video and the client posted it on one local Facebook group, it's going to get 50 views.
Wow, has that really happened?
Yeah, that just happened.
Oh my gosh.
So I think views are kind of quite a bad indication of whether or not a campaign's successful. Like, of course, creativity can dictate views and it can help with that. But it's just not the sole factor in getting those views. I would say the metric I look at to see whether or not creative is successful, just the kind of creative, is the watch time.
Absolutely.
If people are watching 3 seconds of a video, it's not done very well. If people, even if you've got 1 million views on it. I keep using the term 1 million, but even if you've got 1 million views on it, if people are only watching 3 seconds, it's irrelevant. You've made a bad piece of creative. It's just been forced down people's throats.
Absolutely.
If you make a video that people watch all the way through, but it gets 50 views, you've made a successful campaign. You've made a good piece of creative. It's just not been marketed in the right way.
Yeah.
So that for me is the key thing. And I think you can see from the view time and the watch time how it's performing, and you can sometimes see where it's putting people off.
Yeah,
There might be a point where you go, oh, everyone turns off actually at the 40-second mark. Let's look back at it.
Yeah.
Let's maybe reconsider this video. So I would say that in terms of pure creative, there are like marketing strategy and marketing departments that there's other metrics that they need to study. Like I'm not saying that's the only relevant one, but I'd say for us as filmmakers, that's the one that I'm most interested in.
Absolutely. And so when you're looking at the data and you're saying, oh, there might be a particular drop-off point here, or you're looking at audience retention graphs, for example, are you then able to use that data to make changes, or how does it work typically with your clients?
Typically, I sort of look at the data and I see there's a drop-off point and then I cry in the bathroom for about 45 minutes. It entirely depends on the client and on the campaign that we're working on. Sometimes, you can take it back and you can re-edit and you can kind of A/B test video.
Sure.
Depending on the client and who we're working with, sometimes it is very much a case of hand it over and people mark it. And sometimes we have longer relationships with clients where we can look back at something and go, oh, we could tweak this. Or we look at it and go, right, for the next campaign, we realize this part of this campaign is getting loads of engagement. People are really interested in it. Let's do something else on that for the next bit of it.
So we take the learnings onto the next project.
Yeah, we'd never say to think of we never think of our video. Our video is just something that you throw out there. Think of it as a long-term relationship, as video strategy, as a campaign and as a series of campaigns. Yeah. So you should be taking the lessons from each one, which is why we try and have a debrief on all of our projects.
Absolutely. I mean, I can see from just the projects I've seen, I can see they've all been tremendously successful anyway. But is there a trouble kind of shooting scenario that you go through if a video isn't performing as well as you'd hoped?
Yeah, there is. We would always look back. We'd have a detailed conversation. We'd look at those metrics. We'd look at the sort of the reactions from people. If you've made something that's actually, there's two ways you can do this. You can make something that offends people, in which case it can get a lot of views.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But you can generally tell from the comments where you've gone wrong. Or you can make something that bores people. And something that bores people just fizzles out. It just disappears. Yeah. In which case, nothing's ever dead. You can look at it again. You can re-edit it. You can look back at it. Or there might be a fundamental problem. Yeah. Ultimately, if there's a fundamental problem, it's a problem that's happened right at the start of the project. You've probably not understood your audience. You probably, the messaging isn't something that's resonating with them. You're trying to cram some kind of emotional aspect into it that isn't working.
Yes.
Those are the sort of things that tend to have gone wrong. So you can go back to the drawing board. You can re-edit. You can put it out again. Most importantly, though, is to go back to that initial piece of strategy and go, where have we gone wrong here? How do we course correct for the next project? For the next project,
and I guess that's the key, isn't it? It's for the next one. Yeah. If a business has a limited amount of resource, when I say resource, I might mean time, the team, maybe even budget. What's the most effective video that they can start using?
I bet you can predict what I'm going to say. It completely depends on the company.
Absolutely.
So if you are something that's very human centric, so if you're, I don't know, a coach, or if you're a gym, or if you're something that where the touchstone is the people that are coming there and you're selling it, just go out and make something.
Yeah.
You see it all the time on the internet, people walking down a road, talking into a camera, build a relationship with an audience. But if you're pushing something that's luxury or high end, or it depends how your brand's perceived. If your brand's sort of got this perception of kind of quality, probably just making a video is going to hamper you more than it's going to help you.
Absolutely.
I would say maybe video, if you don't have the budget there, isn't the best course for you. If you get more budget, there's a hell of a lot you can do with luxury brands, but probably it's not something you're going to be able to do in-house, or, whoever's cousin has just graduated film school and has a camera can film for you. It's going to damage your reputation. A brand's so fragile.
Yeah.
People are so literate with video. Everyone's bombarded by high quality video now. Everywhere you look, there's a statistic that people watch something like 2 hours of video a day every day.
I'm quite sure. It's probably more.
Yeah, completely. So people know what quality is, even if they can't sit down now and justify what high quality video is. They subconsciously know it. So if they see something bad, even if they aren't sitting there and going, that's bad and that's boring because these edits are too slow, or they've shot it badly or whatever, they just go subconsciously, that's crap.
Yeah.
And they'll move on from it and it just won't work. And next time they see something from that brand, it still lingers in there. It still lingers cheap or bad or whatever. The brand can be damaged by the quality video that you make.
Absolutely. I think the quality of the video implies a lot. Again, if you think about certain brands where quality is so important, high-end car manufacturers, watches, Rolexes, for example, you don't really want a cheap kind of UGC-based content for those kinds of clients.
No, exactly.
You're going to want high-end quality, aren't you? So
yeah, of course. It does matter, and people are aware of it more than they've ever been.
Yes.
This sort of attitude of, oh, you've just got to push out there and start making things can be very dangerous to certain brands.
Absolutely. So you talk about creatively, you look at your audience retention graph, for example, and you want to understand how well a video is performed in terms of the reception from the audience, I guess. How else do you measure the success of a video? Maybe more from a marketing standpoint. Is it leads? Is it sales? What are your outcomes?
I mean, once again, right at the start of every project, every outcome should be different. You should know why you're making a video. If you have a set of generic things that you're tracking, you're not really making a campaign. You just setting a series of random numbers. So right at the start of that project, we talk about what success looks like and then what metrics we should look into to determine whether or not a project has been successful.
Yeah.
So it depends entirely what you're trying to make. It might be that you're making something at the bottom of the funnel and its job is to convert, in which case, obviously, you're looking at sales.
Yeah.
But it might also be that you're making something really at the top of the funnel and it's just a branding thing.
Yeah.
And if you judge that by how many sales it's made, it's pointless.
Yeah.
So yeah, there isn't a catch-all answer to that question.
Of course.
There is only, at the start of a project, really think about what success is going to look like. And then at the end of the project, go back to that and go, is this successful or is it not?
I understand. I mean, that's it. There's nuance to all of this. And I know I'm asking quite difficult questions in a way because I'm asking for like a catch-all answer to all of these things. But no, you're absolutely right. It's just about those expectations at the start, isn't it? And understanding what the outcome is, kind of working backwards.
Yeah.
How do you think short form video is affecting the way that brands are using video at the moment?
It's a good question. I would say short form video has been around long enough now that it kind of already has made its impact. Like anyone there used to be an argument 10 years ago that it's somehow less valuable. It's short form video. It's like a cheaper end of the spectrum and
I used to feel that way.
we all did, don't get me wrong. But actually, as it's come in, short form video is harder.
Yeah.
Because what hasn't happened is people go, this is a short video. We're going to try and convey less in this video. What they've done is they've gone, it's short form video. We're still going to try and convey the same message. We've just got 15 seconds to do it. Yeah. So people, I think, got the message for a long time that short form video was just go out and make something and put it out there and people engage with it. And it went back to this is where the watch through rate sort of falls down, because if you make a 6-second video, I'll tell you what, most people are going to watch it all the way through. Yeah. Because it's too short for them to do that and skip past it. So what we've found is how short form video is affecting things is filmmaking's much more tactical. If you want that kind of stuff to succeed, you need to be much, much, much more tactical with it. You need to think about every frame. You need to think about every millisecond of that video because you've only got such a short amount of time to do it. It's become a much more sort of like condensed format, and you've got to spend a lot of time thinking about how you have the maximum amount of impact with a short amount of time. It's not, we're going to pump out all these short form videos like it used to be. Yeah. Because people are sort of past that now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think there's such a shift in user behavior as well. It's like you say, you have literally, a couple of seconds to make the impression and hook that viewer into, hopefully compel them to keep watching that video. Otherwise they've gone, it's such a much harder medium in some respects. Yeah. To make for, especially when you have an outcome, hopefully at the end of this as well, from a business perspective.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there was an argument that I think got pushed a lot, which was, and it came from a Microsoft study. I've not read it in a long time, so I don't know off the top of my head. But there was an argument that people's attention spans had shrunk to less than 8 seconds. And I think there was a thing that a goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds. And actually, it's all been debunked now. It's all come out. And even the people that did the study said, no, you've completely misunderstood what we're saying. Because people, if you look at a lot of mediums, things are going up. Like the average film length is going up. Games are getting longer. Albums are getting longer. There's more tracks on those kind of things. I think in the last 10 years, the average film length has gone up by half an hour. Now, don't quote me on that, but I'm fairly confident that is true. Wow. So in other places, people's attention span is not going down. People's attention span is going up. I think what we've created is a generation of discerning people. And people have so many options out there. If they don't like something, they just go, I don't like that, and move on quicker. That's not that they've not got an attention span. It's not that they're not willing to give their attention to something. It's that they're not engaged in what you're saying. Yeah. And that's, I think, been the fundamental misunderstanding with short form video.
I completely agree. And that was my conclusion too, is that people are just more discerning with their time. They're bombarded with so much video content now. They just make faster, snap decisions as to, is this going to be worth my time? No, I'm gone. I'm on to the next video.
Yeah, completely.
I think that's incredibly insightful analysis. Because
no one's ever accused me of that before.
Because I think everyone, it's so much easier to just say, well, it's because attention spans are diminishing. And, from a production company's point of view, that's a really easy get out clause as well, isn't it? Oh, it's the attention spans, it's not our video. It's clearly the attention span.
I would love it if that was the case. If we could make a bad video, it's their fault. It's their attention. They're all thick these days. That'd be great, but it's not true.
Exactly. I'm reticent to bring this subject up. But the thing that's on everybody's mind at the moment is still obviously AI. We're seeing things with Sora and all kinds of stuff where they're actually generating video, which is getting better. We've not got the 6 fingers anymore, and you've got videos of people eating spaghetti. It's getting more sophisticated. How do you see AI kind of changing the landscape of kind of what you're doing and within video production?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very complicated one, isn't it? I guess you have to talk about it, all these sort of things. But the honest answer is, I would say no one knows. Everyone is still guessing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would say there's a moral kind of point that I do think the whole AI slop thing is very questionable. I've got to be honest, I wish it didn't exist, but that doesn't mean that you could ignore it. Like, it is going to be a huge part of things moving forward. I would say the question I still ask is, if it's so great, why is it never good? Like, if AI is this great thing and it's like everyone can make these incredible videos now, why are we never seeing anything that's good?
Yeah.
Why is the thing that's come out of it AI slop?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just sort of mind-rotting things. And that, it's incredible. Like, you look at it and you go, oh my God, that is very close to being good. Like, I still don't think it's quite there, but you'd be absolutely stupid to say it's not going to get there.
Yeah.
And I just think it's going to change the way the industry works. I sort of see 2 or 3 different outcomes. I see one, we all get replaced by AI. And yeah, sure, there's an argument that, it's just a tool and that you'll still need people. But there is an entire industry out there of skillful people, and it is, it's stealing IP.
Absolutely.
It's not, I don't think that is a great outcome. Like, I don't think the best way for film or the best way to be creative is to people to sit alone in their bedroom, putting things into a computer and then generating like either entertainment or commercial work. Because what'll happen on an entertainment, if we stick on the commercial side, what'll happen on the commercial side is if you give these tools to everyone, suddenly everyone has the same tools.
Yep.
Suddenly Nike are working in the same ball space as the startup gym that's opened around the corner from my house. So I think as soon as that happens, commercials, the reason people are spending money on commercials now, or loads of money on commercials now, isn't because they want the best art.
Yeah.
They don't want to make the best. They want to be different. Yeah. They want to stand out in a way that other people aren't. And if everyone has the same tools, you're still going to need to stand out in some way.
Yeah.
So I think there'll have to be something else that comes in. Like, I don't know if behind the scenes videos are going to be big and it becomes the story of making a commercial becomes a big part of a commercial. Apple have done it recently. I don't know if you saw.
No.
They did this week, I think. They've remade the sort of title sting to all Apple stuff, but they've done it practically. They've done it with glass and shooting stuff through. They made a big BTS about it. It's gone really well. Like, the sort of artistry behind it's been part of the story. So I would hope that that sort of thing happens, that suddenly, I don't know why Coke are making Christmas ads with AI.
I've heard of this,
but I guess they're just an early adopter. But suddenly, if Coke can make a Christmas ad with AI and Jim's Discount Spirits can make a video with AI, like, Coke are going to try and do something different.
Yes.
And I would hope that something different still involves a human aspect to it.
Yeah.
The other thing I could see happening is maybe it isn't quite as good as we think, and maybe there is a ceiling on it. I would say it has slowed down. I mean, it was moving so quickly that it's slowing down isn't necessarily a great side, but I would say the quality of it has slowed down. I don't think the differences between Sora 1 and Sora 2 are as instrumental as it was when it went in 2023. You had Will Smith eating that pasta.
That's right. Yeah.
To where the pasta is now. I don't think the differences are quite there. So potentially, I don't know, maybe it won't reach the peak that we're all hoping, and maybe the kind of consistency won't stay there. Let's be honest, I am being quite hopeful in that.
Yeah, I'm forever the optimist. So I'm kind of thinking that I'm seeing the impact already of AI video on YouTube, and I'm seeing that the market share that kind of AI slop is taking, and I'm seeing the impact across a whole range of channels. But I do feel like it's a phase. I feel like people are starting to identify it. I was at one point, I was being shared, all these cat videos, which were clearly AI, but people hadn't quite twigged. And now, of course, we're like, oh, it's AI. And we're kind of just skipping past.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping there's a phase element to some of it. And as you say, it's kind of slowing down, I think, to a degree in terms of what they're producing, what they're bringing out. How do you see AI being more of a supportive tool? You mentioned yourself, AI could be a tool. Would it help with some of your workflows? Are you using some of it already?
So yeah, there is thing we recently used it on something. We needed to do a VFX on footage we'd already shot. We shot the footage. We needed something within the footage, and we used AI to combine two pieces of two clips together.
Yeah.
So it worked. Now, I guess you come to the question of like, what is AI? That's not generative AI. We didn't generate anything. We used it as a tool.
Yeah.
In the same sense that the Photoshop clone stamp tool is AI. Like, it is all just a sort of stand on the shoulders of giants kind of situation. Like, you'd be an idiot not to experiment with it, which we have done. Like, you'd have to dig your head in the sand not to experiment with it. I think it's a case of going, this is useful, this isn't useful. I would say ultimately on an emotional standpoint, I think it's going to make everything slightly worse. I think we're just going to get a sea of generic, boring stuff where everything copies from each other and it sort of spirals. My hope would be eventually just people get bored of that and we move into, people trying to be creative. And there is a world where you can make something really creative with it. I think there will be some people that make some incredible stuff with AI.
Yeah.
I think there will be 90% of people, though, that make copies of copies of copies of IP that already exists and then copying other people's AI. And we sort of get this world of slop where I think you may as well at a certain point be watching coloured shapes moving around on a screen. I think that is sort of what we're getting to. Okay, it's like this brain rot sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we do. Sorry, to go back to your original question. Of course, the tools are something that we'll incorporate and use and we'll assess, and we already have assessed, and there's people in the company that really like using some of the tools, there's other people in the company that don't.
Yeah.
And we're still working out, are they a time saver, which completely they are, they save time, but is that the cost of quality? And currently I would say it probably does get you 90% of the way there.
Okay.
And sometimes there are things that we've needed to do that we wouldn't have had the budget for a big VFX budget.
Yeah.
And we've used some AI to get there, not generative AI. And it's got us to a place that we wouldn't have got to without it. Like there is no shadow of a doubt. But if we did have the budget, you would have got a better version of it if we'd done it with sort of the traditional way. Still at this stage, in 2-3 years' time, probably that will have changed. But
yeah. Interesting. So without wanting to put words into your mouth, it sounds like you are aware of it. You don't want to bury your head in the sand and kind of pretend that it's not there, because I guess the people that are using it, you don't want to get left behind, I guess. But the hope is that it's not going to be as important as everybody's kind of predicting that it is.
Exactly. I mean, the hope. Yeah, you're completely right. Like you can't be left behind. It is something we'll use. If it's on the commercial side, if it's to the benefit of our clients, of course we'll use it. We're not going to go like, oh no, actually we're taking a moral standpoint and you need to spend 100 grand on this when we could do it for 5 grand. Like, of course we're not going to do that. But yeah, I think it's very exciting and it's very easy to lose sight of the end result when it comes to AI.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think you're losing with AI is the sort of filmmaking is a very collaborative process.
Yeah.
Like as a director, it's not that I come up with an idea and everyone else in our department, our DOPs, our editors, our producers, our sound recorders, our composers, our actors are like tools that I'm sort of like puppeteering. Like they all come with their own ideas. They all come and they improve it. Every step of the way is improved by adding someone.
Yes.
Like to call out some names like Josh and Rupert and Maritha and Eva and Max and Scott and people like that in our office, they all bring something new and something exciting to every project.
Yeah.
Like I get to claim credit for it at the end, which is, as a massive egotist, that's perfect. But they all bring something great and they all improve on it in an individual way.
Yeah.
If you're just working with AI, if the end result is you and a computer and it's doing exactly what you want, which I think is the dream for AI. I don't think it does that currently, but I think that's the dream for AI. It's going to be worse because you've not had that sort of like communal process. It's not gone through the relationships that a normal project does. So I think that's something you've got to be really aware of. Like
100%. And what's really interesting there as well is the collaboration side. So how big is it? 8 engines? How big is your team?
You know what? Currently it's symbolically 8.
Symbolically 8?
Yeah. Plus probably the 20, 30 freelancers that
of
we
course.
work very regularly.
Yeah, I can imagine. So within that team of 8 people, I guess that's kind of where you bounce all these ideas around, and this is where you come up with the gold for your clients. So how do you actually build that team? How do you find that team?
Oh, I mean, we have a really detailed set of values, and we have 2 sets of values. So we have a set of values that's like what we promise to our clients, and we have a set of team values that we take really, really they really mean a lot to us. And codifying those has been great. Like, in fact, my friend Ollie at Corelli really helped us codify those values, and one of them is that it's okay to argue. Like we have our value is the exact value is it's okay to argue about the work because we all just want it to be better, but you've got to settle it with a drink in the pub afterwards. And that has been incredible. Like we can sit in a room and me and Josh, particularly, who's our head of visuals DOP, can have shouting matches about projects, but we're also very, very, very close friends.
Sure.
Because we both have ideas that we think is good and we can bash it out and we can agree. And some of the best ideas come from that.
Oh yeah.
So we really believe in that. There's 8 values. I won't bore you with them, but
There's another symbolic 8 in there as well, I see.
well, exactly, yeah. It's almost like we have one idea and it is the number 8. So when we're thinking about expanding the in-house team particularly, we tend to have worked with people as freelancers first.
Yeah.
It's a very freelance first industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we sort of tend to know who's going to be maybe worth bringing in. And then, yeah, we'll bring people in, but we do tend to know them. It's pretty rare that we just put a job out there and a load of strangers apply for it. Like we do that with the freelance sort of things. We open up our freelance rosters and people come in, but most of the in-house staff tend to come through that sort of freelance world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting because I think some of the best work that I have done that I'm most proud of is it wasn't only collaborative, but I was working with people that were constantly challenging me and challenging my ideas. How do you find, when you are being challenged, how do you find that middle ground between maybe if you've got 2 different ideas of how to approach something?
Well, normally, I mean, take me and Josh, for example, I'll sort of say my thing a lot and then he's 6'6", so he stands up and then I just agree with him. I don't know. I think you do have to approach everything with you've got to defend your idea because everyone's got ideas. And as a director and as a creative, you do need to protect your idea and the concepts. And particularly in the commercial space, you're championing the client.
Exactly.
You're the team are paid to be great filmmakers.
Yeah.
Like they are paid, like, to go back to Josh's job is to make great visuals.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that's all I want him to focus on is making those great visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want him to be compromised by anything else. My job is to make sure that the creative is aligned, but B, everything we're doing is aligned with what's going to get the best result for the client. So you do need to have that in heart, but you should also like come in with an open mind. Like we've built this team because they're really good and they're really talented. And it's very easy in the heat of defending an idea to forget that and go like, well, it's my idea and da-da-da-da-da. But like you do constantly have to challenge yourself. And sometimes it is a case of stepping back and maybe giving it 15 minutes. And maybe it has got a bit heated, but in quite, like I say, heated, potentially the wrong word. But there is, people fight for their ideas.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it is a case of going like, let's step back for a bit. Let's meet up again in an hour and we'll chat it through. And you've maybe then had a chance to think about what someone else has said.
Yeah.
And actually, maybe it is a really good idea and maybe it's moving in the right direction. And that's where the best ideas come from.
I 100% agree. I think there's been a few instances where I've been very adamant that my vision is the one and everyone else's ideas, they're fine, but they're not quite my idea. But then I've slept on it. I think actually, maybe they were right. So having that little bit of time away to distance yourself from it, I think.
And it's
really
so annoying when that happens.
It is. I know. Then you have to admit, okay, guys, you were right.
See the
but it's
smirk
my
on
idea
their
that it was my idea that you were right. I'm still taking credit for it in some way.
Yeah. Well, I did once work at a place where someone claimed an idea of mine was theirs. And when I chatted to him on them, he said, yeah, well, I chose your idea. Right, okay.
That's a form of credit, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, he only said it to me.
So going back to businesses, maybe businesses that are producing video or thinking about producing video, what's one thing that they could do right now that would instantly improve what it is that they're doing?
Well, the correct answer obviously is higher rate engines.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I'd say, it does always come back to that initial thing. Like make sure that you're getting that initial workshop. You're not rushing that. You're doing all the work up front.
Yeah.
But like we've been saying through this, putting the audience first. Like think about your audience. Think about them. Like everything you're doing, put through the prism of their experience and what they want. And if you do that, and then you think about how to get your messaging in there, you're going to make something that engages with them. Even if you've not got a massive budget, you don't need £100,000 budget to make a massive commercial. You can, so long as you're thinking about them and you're finding something that they're willing to engage with, they're going to engage with it. They're certainly more likely to engage with it.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to actually publishing your videos, where do you, I say your videos, your clients' videos, what medium or what platform do they typically use the most? Is it Facebook? Is it YouTube? Is it something else? Is it TV?
So it completely depends, is the honest answer. Like we don't publish videos, we're production. So we come up with creatives, we support people, we make it, we give it them. It tends to go out through an agency or a marketing department or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends. It depends entirely. Like if it's B2B, probably LinkedIn is still the biggest method, or direct outreach.
Yeah.
We love a bit of TV. I think there's a big crossover between TV ads and, like YouTube pre-rolls, things like that. Like you can make something that crosses multiple multiple boundaries. I mean, Instagram is still a big thing.
Yeah.
Look, you'd be stupid to not mention TikTok at this point.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of what we do, TikTok tends to be more of a secondary consideration. Like we tend to be doing things that are maybe more polished, and there's TikToks around that, but it's not the primary output at this stage.
Yeah.
A lot of like PPC, that kind of stuff.
And with the bigger businesses that you work with, do you find that there's a lot of kind of cross-platforming, like repurposing what was maybe, a longer form 16:9 piece of content and then making that into a 9:16 short form piece of content, for example?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
So it depends entirely on what you're making. Like there is always that conversation. Like everyone always wants social cut downs.
Yeah.
Generally, the problem that you get with that is you make something and then someone else goes in and goes, oh, can we have a 15-second version of this? Well, no, because you can, but can you have the best 15-second version of this? No, because we didn't talk about it at the start.
Exactly.
Like you can't just take a minute-long commercial and cut a 15-second version of it and it just be perfect.
Yeah.
Like what the best thing to do would be to plan that at the start. And yeah, you'll be making shorter versions within a campaign, but you probably are shooting specific things for that 15-second version.
Yes.
Within a scene or within the same location. It's not costing extra money or costing extra ads. But the idea of like cut downs where you can just use all the same footage is sort of misleading. Sometimes you can do it. I would say it's always better if you plan it from the off.
100%. I think this is a conversation I still have with people because everyone's got the idea of video and trying to be as cost effective as possible. So if like, we've already got this piece of content, let's just chop it up and use it. It's like, well, you can do that, but is it going to get you the best results? What would be the best case? If budget and time wasn't a question, what would you do? You would make something specifically for that platform. So yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with you.
Yeah, it does. I think that's been a thing over the last few years, is this obsession with coming away with loads and loads and loads and loads of different versions of a video.
Yeah.
Which is like, there are campaigns where that's exactly what you need.
Yeah.
But we don't try and think of it as like, how do we get the most from this in the sense of how do we get the most content from it? We think about it, how do we get the most value from it?
Yeah.
Because for some clients, it might be having 10 TikTok videos gets them the most value. For some clients, it might be having one really high-end project that you've spent a day getting 10 shots for is going to get them the most value. And actually having 10 things that you've had to shoot at quite a lot of pace and you've maybe not had as much time as you normally would to sit down and focus on the creative for isn't going to get them the value that 30 seconds is. Like you've got to really think at the start, what is the most value outcome that we can get from this?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's a lot of video agencies that really push this narrative of we shoot so much in a day. We shoot so much in a day. Like, yeah, great. Like everyone can shoot a lot in a day if it's planned. Is it the best thing? Is that the ultimate outcome? Or is that just a very easy sort of when you sit down and you're pitching and looks and someone goes, oh, these guys are going to give us 10 deliverables and these guys are going to give us 5.
Yeah.
But the 10 is twice as valuable.
Yeah.
Is it because they're spending the same resources on those 10?
Yeah.
Like those 10 potentially are worth 50% of those 5.
Exactly. So how do you quantify it? Are you quantifying it in volume and quantity or in terms of the outcomes, I guess?
Exactly. And that's why, as I keep mentioning, when we talk about what does success look like, what we talk about those metrics, that's where you decide how many deliverables you need. Don't just go, oh, we're getting thrown an extra 20 deliverables in with this because they're probably going to be rushed and maybe they're not perfect for the brand and they've definitely not had as much strategic thought as a lot of stuff would have. So
Absolutely.
Sometimes perfect getting loads of deliverables. That's exactly what a brand needs. Sometimes it really isn't.
Yeah.
So it's about conflating those two things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I did a bit of research on you. I found a few different things you'd said online, different podcasts you've been on. One of the things I saw, which made me realize that you are obviously a very, very experienced filmmaker, is one of the quotes was, you'd rather spend 2 hours in preparation to save 5 minutes on set.
Completely.
Tell me a little bit more about that, because I think that's fascinating.
Oh, it's very inside baseball, this. But yeah, like our whole thing is if you can spend, I mean, to give you the quote back to you, 2 hours in prep and save 5 minutes on set.
Yeah.
Like if you look at a budget, all the budget really, like some of the budget we spent on prep, most of the budget is spent on a day. Like on a film set, time is money.
Yeah.
Like if you've got crews, you've got cast, you're renting locations, you've got all the kit, you've got everything there. 5 minutes on set probably costs a fair amount of money.
Yes, absolutely.
Whereas 2 hours on prep of like one person just working something out and figuring something out and writing a better lighting plan or working out the quickest load in for equipment or something like that.
That can make a big difference on the day.
That can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So we have like, we're set up slightly differently to a lot of production companies. Most production companies are set up producers, directors, and editors. That's the setup. We're set up like a film crew.
Yeah.
So we have in-house producers, directors, editors, like a lot of people. We've got an in-house head of visuals who's a DOP. We've got an in-house camera assistant. We've got in-house assistant producers. We've got in-house sound recordists. And the advantage there is, I think, when you look at traditional commercial or filmmaking, what happens is you get someone comes up with an idea, a producer and director come together, they work it out. You maybe get a prep day with a DOP, and then you show up on set and everyone's freelance.
Yeah.
And for me, that's like if Man City had a manager and a captain,
Yeah.
but all the players were freelance and they just rock up on the day and they've got to play football with each other. It's not going to work well.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, if we've set it up where, and because of all this prep thing, and because everything is made in prep, every single thing that you do is made in prep. So we've got like our camera assistant, our DP, we're there like 2 weeks before, we're having meetings, we're chatting through, this is coming up in 2 weeks, be aware of it, like you're working on stuff, but be aware of this. We start chatting through ideas, people come up with ideas.
Yeah.
Max, our camera assistant, can come up with great ideas. He wouldn't normally be involved in that process, but also on the day, he knows to the letter what that schedule is. He's not getting a call sheet out of his pocket and going, oh, this is what we're shooting today, is it? Which is what I used to do when we're working. Oh, right, these are the scenes today. I think I've not even read that. There's none of that with us. It is like everyone knows exactly every shot. We've got like language that we use between ourselves because we're used to, we've always, a lot of us, some of the staff been there 5 years.
Yeah.
Like we're used to working together and playing the same game and, we're playing 4-4-2, but we're playing it well. That's it. Yeah, we can Gergen press filmmaking.
So I'm the same ethos in terms of I'd much rather get everything prepped and know exactly what's going to happen on the day, and then it makes the day smoother. I never really thought of it from like a cost perspective when you've got that big a crew or that big a studio and everything else, because time is literally money.
Time is money. That's what I remember being on a big film that I will not name, where we were doing some car-based stuff, and someone let a road open that they shouldn't have, and sort of cars started coming through, and it blocked the road, and it wasted about 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I was chatting to the producer, and he estimated that 20 minutes cost about 18 grand.
Wow. So
like one tiny mistake there cost a lot. I mean, that was a very big film, but yeah, one tiny mistake there cost a lot of money. And that's sort of on a macro level, that's what it costs. Like if you waste 20 minutes because the crew don't know anything, realistically, that's at the end of the day, you're cutting a shot or two. Mm-hmm. Like that sort of logistical stuff is affecting the creative in a very direct way. And that's what we're really aware of. Like we've built this whole thing to be like, we need to get the most out of a film day. Like we have our van. You should see the inside of our van doors. You open it. Every bit of kit is listed where it is. There's photographs of where everything goes. Really? There's a color coding system because we need to be able someone to go to the van and go, right, I need this. There it is. Go. We don't need someone to go to the van and go, oh, I've got to take this out, and waste 10 minutes because we need it then.
Yeah.
Like that's taken days to build. Yeah. But you know what? It saves us 10, 15 minutes on every shoot.
Amazing.
Which is, that's fundamental.
Yeah, that level of organization is incredible. I have on a similar thing. My brother-in-law, who is a tradesperson, his van is the same, except only he knows, the structure of it. He said to me one time, he passed me the screwdriver, and I was like, I have no idea where to even look. I can pass you something. But that level of detail is incredible because again, the time that it saves. Because even you talked about a 20-minute delay on that set. That 20-minute delay, not only did it cost £18,000, but that then pushes everything back. You then potentially got overtime with the cast and crew and everything else as well. I mean, it can have a really significant impact.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that I talk about. Like that's drilled into everyone that works on high-end film sets is this is costing a lot of money and you don't want to be responsible for something going wrong.
Absolutely.
And I think that comes from that ethos.
Yeah. So I have to ask, you've worked on some of these big productions. What did you learn when you were coming through the ranks? What did you learn from those big productions that are maybe still translating into what you do today?
Well, I guess there's negatives and positives there.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be.
There's a lot, like it is. It's so rigid and organized and well run, and the professionals that you work with take it very, very, very seriously. Yeah. And it's not, I've got this camera and maybe it'll be fun to do this. It is like people have dreamt their entire lives about getting into this industry and doing it. And it runs like clockwork. Yeah. And like we've tried to replicate that. It's incredible watching it, particularly on big film sets where, like I say, people have been working together 6 months and they understand each other and maybe they've done a few projects before that. It's like quite magical to watch, really.
Yeah.
The other side of that is culturally, particularly when I was doing it, word on the street is it's changed a lot. It was fairly hellish.
Really?
Oh my God. Like, because everyone cares so much and because there's this short sort of freelance kind of world where after this film, you've got to get on the next one. The reason I sort of decided I didn't think it was for me was something went wrong. And I'm from a family of sports people. All my family are sports people.
Oh,
They're
really?
either professional sports people, PE teachers.
Yeah.
Literally everyone. I'm very much the black sheep. But something went wrong on set. And the first question was never, how do we fix this? The first question was always, whose fault is this?
Yeah.
I remember looking around being like, who cares whose fault it is? Let's
Just get it done. Yeah.
But everyone wanted to prove that they hadn't done the thing because they didn't want their reputation tarnished. They've got to get on the next job. And there's this level of like quite intense pressure, very long hours. If I'm totally honest, I would say I saw a fair amount of bullying in those times and people not being particularly nice to each other. I think because, they'd had it to them. I think what happens is you sort of start out very idealistic in this role and then it's very long hours. You travel around. You don't really see people outside of it. So it costs people a lot. It costs people, they're seeing their friends less. They're breaking up with their relationships. And this thing that's sort of causing that becomes the core of their life.
Yeah.
And sort of the thing that's made them somewhat miserable is also the thing that's the only thing that's important to them.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Gollum, like precious, sort of coming through. And yeah, I think, look, it's a very minor amount of people in that industry, but I definitely saw it when I was there. And that's something that we've brought into the company as well, is a culture of like being supportive.
Absolutely.
And, like it's a privilege to work in this industry. You do have to work hard and it's very fun, but also like people give a lot and people deserve a level of respect and they deserve to be looked after and they deserve, if you have a sick day, you're okay to take a sick day. It's not like you're going to be shot and never get a job again in your life. People like, I think that's something we've very much taken is to like take care of people. If you take care of the crew take care of you.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a great thing to translate over from those bigger productions. I think our ethos with Falkon has always been collaboration. And so again, if something happens, I don't really care whose fault it was. Let's just find the solution. What's the solution? How do we move forward?
Yeah, I'll beat you later.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, you'll pay. I'll find out who did it. But as of right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's everyone's going to make mistakes. It's a very hard thing to make a film. There's a lot of different things moving. There's a lot of things going on. Mistakes are going to happen. It's how you deal with those mistakes and how you kind of like bounce back and keep going and everyone gets around you that makes it better.
Yeah. So I think that any production company dreads hearing the words, "Oh, we'll fix it in post." It's probably everyone's worst nightmare. How do you go around educating the client to tell them, fixing it in post is not the solution. Let's fix it now and save ourselves a whole bunch of headaches later on?
Well, I mean, fix it in pre. That's always the answer. Like, never fix it in post. If you're fixing something in post, it's because you've not done anything right in pre. Like, there shouldn't be a problem that you can't envisage on the day. I mean, obviously, things do happen. And yeah, don't get me wrong. Have we occasionally gone, bloody hell, we will have to fix it in post? Yeah, but it is time and money and all that kind of stuff. And do you go, oh, we're wasting X amount of money to fix this problem, it's actually cheaper to fix it in post. That's the maths you've got to make.
Right. Yeah.
But realistically, 95% of those things should be fixed in pre.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be coming onto set and seeing something that you haven't envisaged very often.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I think. We've got a fantastic edit department. Like, they are wonderful. Shout out to Maritha and Ever. But you don't want to put that extra level of pressure on them, and it's always fix it in post is always a compromise. You're always compromising the creative. Fix it in post isn't, it'll take 3 days and then magically it's fixed.
Yeah.
There's normally some kind of payoff to the fix it in post situation. It's not you're just wasting the editor's time. There's normally a creative payoff.
Absolutely. So I'd like to do a new section to this podcast that we haven't done before. And it's basically going to help us understand a little bit more about what makes Jack tick. So it's some this or that questions. I've got 8 questions for you. You can just answer them.
I'd see you following the theme of...
Do you know what? That wasn't intentional, but I'm going to pretend that it was. You can just answer the question however you wish. If you want to add additional context to it, it's entirely up to you as well. And interpret them any which way you wish as well.
Okay.
So, very first question, nice and simple. Coffee or tea?
You know what? I didn't drink coffee for a long time.
Really?
I drank coffee, went off coffee, and back on coffee now.
I was going to say, for production, that's unusual.
Most of the time I was doing big productions, I was not on coffee.
Wow.
But now we've got a great coffee machine in the office, and it has won me back over.
Early start or late finish?
It's never my choice.
Okay.
Whatever the production needs.
Okay. Film or documentary?
Oh, it's a good question. To make or to...
You interpret it how you wish.
Oh, it's a really good question. I would say I watch a lot more films than I watch documentaries now.
Mhm.
Although I am going back and watching some Adam Curtis documentaries at the minute.
Oh, right.
Fantastic. Always recommend.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, probably watching film. I do love making documentaries. We've just made a documentary in America and Mexico that I've thoroughly loved doing. Like, I love the idea of having a conversation with someone and sort of, I see it as like you're making a jigsaw out of someone else's words. You've got all these pieces and you get to decide what the story is, but you've still got to use those pieces. And I think there's a level of satisfaction in getting a really good interview, and it feels like you get a real personal connection with a human being.
There's
that you don't get.
Huge skill to crafting that narrative from all of those parts.
One day I'll figure out what it is. But
You're so modest as well. Director's chair or editor's desk?
Director's chair.
Director's chair. Studio shoot or on location?
Location.
Really?
Oh, always, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, studios are boring.
Studios are boring. Okay, yeah, there's the argument that studios are boring and a bit clinical, but every variable is controlled. Whereas, you can go to on location, it could be raining, you don't know what the weather's going to be.
Yeah, but there's something, you come away with something better, I would say. I'd say there's more of a gamble, but there's also more of a payoff to a good location shoot. And once again, if you've fixed it all in pre, you should be fine.
And on those location shoots, you are yourself flying around all over the place at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, we do a lot of international stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said you were going to Peru and Singapore and it was everywhere. It wasn't just like, London, Manchester.
For a project, we got France, Germany, Peru, South Africa, Singapore.
And that's just before the end of the year.
It was meant to be before the end of the year. Whether or not it's going to slip back, I don't know, but yeah.
Incredible. Scripted perfection or happy accident?
Scripted perfection, completely. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can believe that with you guys. Big budget blockbuster or indie passion project?
Indie passion project, every time. The best films I made were a film called 71 that I worked on. That I'd say that was the best time I ever had.
Really?
Is in the sort of film world, yeah.
What was so special about 71?
It's a great crew.
Yeah.
It felt like we were sort of all pulling together.
Mm-hmm.
It was directed by a guy called Jan de Mange, who's gone on to do some big things. It just felt like we were properly making something that everyone cared about. Whereas on the bigger stuff, I think you're so far away from the creative, or at the level that I was working on it, you're so far away from the creative that it feels like you may as well be in a factory.
Sure. You're a small cog in a massive machine.
Exactly.
Yeah, got it. Storyboard or improvise on the day?
You know what I'm about to say.
I do, right?
Yeah, storyboarding completely. I love storyboarding. Is one of my favorite parts of the project.
Really?
Oh, to sit down, you build the story in a storyboard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get so much. Like, that's the only time that you can be truly creatively free on your own, I think. Like, if I'm doing boards and writing shot lists and, I write scripts and then I do shot lists and then we do boards off that. Like, that process, that's where I find the film.
Yeah.
After that point, you're just turning paper into celluloid or digital files now. Like, the filmmaking process, there's exciting moments in it, but it's got to be on the rails. Like, that should always be on the rails. There should be nothing that's surprising you there. You can have surprises still in the shot list and the storyboarding process.
Yeah. Amazing. So when you do your storyboards, what does that process look like? Are you actually sketching out, exactly how that framed scene is going to look, or is it?
So we have a few different ways of doing it, really. So there's apps that we use where you can build storyboards in there. Yeah. I am not a good drawer. I do occasionally sketch out boards to sort of me and our camera team will have a chat about it, or me and Roop, our producer, will have a chat about it from some hand sketch stuff. But this is a thing that AI I do find very useful.
Yeah,
is the first thing I'm doing is scripting it, and then I use there's an app called Shot Lister. A lot of people use it. Building a very detailed shot list, and in my head I'm like, I think it's this and this and this, and this is, you sort of feeling out the story. Then I'm going into boarding it, and then quite frequently to show the clients, what we'll do is we'll recreate those boards with AI. So we'll get AI storyboards.
Yeah, perfect. Well, listen, Jack, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy man. You've got a world-class production company that you have to run. Where can people find out more about 8 Engines?
I'd say the best place to find out more about 8 Engines is our website, 8engines.com. We're also on LinkedIn. That's probably our biggest platform. So Jack Leigh, I'm on LinkedIn. The company's on LinkedIn.
Amazing. Jack, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No worries, buddy. Straight under that.
It's good action. Thank you very much.
No worries.